I grew up as a sickly child. Exposure to sunlight would cause my skin to crawl, and just a tiny stumble or trip could easily lead me to a sprained ankle. Needless to say, I was frail and far from athletic. I was always considered the oddball, not only due to my poor health, but due to how I would avoid other children. I was quiet and kept most things to myself. I found joy in drawing, writing, and other forms of art. Most of the others would avoid me. Some would even bully me with foul words, but the worst of them would attempt to hurt me. Being a non-confrontational, I alerted my elders in attempts to make such things stop, only to be ignored. Fighting back only led to further injury. More and more I grew upset with the situation. Once I was even trampled so badly I lost consciousness, along with very few of my baby teeth. Having no friends at the time, I believe I had conjured up an imaginary one. He was dreadfully terrifying. Well, I can't be certain it was a he, but I always claimed that it was a male due to the lack of breasts. I would tell him any of my troubles, and find comfort in what I would believe he would say. I've had the overactive imagination, but sometimes I wonder if he was real. Often I think he was a result of my emotional trauma. Strange events happened after that I can't explain, only asking me questions on such occurrences. Once I started seeing him, I started seeing even more strange things. I'd see shadows and shapes of humans, and sometimes catch a full glimpses of what would pass in my peripheral vision. My mother would see the pictures I drew. A blonde little girl stood holding a hand spinally, deformed figure cloaked in blacks and grays, rows of pointed teeth, those to the likeness of sharks lined his grin. She looked unnerved. She never put pictures I drew of him on the refrigerator. I remember his eyes, silver and reflective. My mother always asked who it was, and I told her what I knew. He's my friend, Mommy. He doesn't have a name. Well, he does, but he had a speaking it would have dire consequences. At the time, I was nonchalantly coloring the image of a puppy in Lisa Frank coloring book. She was well aware that I had an active imagination. When I was small, as I would draw entertaining pictures and spin quite a few tales whenever she asked me to come up with a story. She would often ask me to do so as we had very few books left that I didn't had read, but something about the reappearance of this new friend of mine seemed to disturb her, though apparently the conversations we held seemed pretty normal for a little girl and her imaginary friend. A silver and a blue puppy? I asked him, questioning his judgment. I took those crayons out of the box, deciding that it was okay. You're so silly. I would giggle and continue coloring. Eventually my mother quit being so concerned about that friend of mine. She figured it was the scary movies she watched and that I decided to sneak peeks at had finally taken their toll on me. As I aged, I didn't quite see him as so much anymore, but I could still feel his presence. It never really disturbed me. Sometimes I would swear I felt crawled hands stroking my hair when I would find myself crying. But what strange things happened were odd enough to make me believe that maybe, just maybe, he was real. I remember when someone purposely damaged a painting I worked very hard on in art class. Their house was broken into and many of their valuables were stolen. I assure you I had nothing to do with this. Once a girl spat on me on the playground. An unseen force pushed her and she fell from the monkey bars, spraining her wrist and an ankle. I recall being called names by one boy on the football team to the point of crying. Over the weekend I had found out that he had been in a car accident and broke his leg, preventing him from playing. Other events happened that I don't quite remember, but I could always feel the presence hanging over me, even if I couldn't see him. Even then, he didn't always cause harm. Once I was walking in a larger city and a bus swerved in order to avoid hitting a child on the road. I was positive that I would have seen it hit. It came to a close. I felt the wind from the vehicle brush against my skin. I closed my eyes and felt every muscle in my body tense, only to find myself on the corner of the sidewalk where I had previously been walking. A tree fell mere 2 feet away from me because I thought I heard someone call my name and stepped a few feet into my left to take a look. When I was having one of those whiny teenage angst moments and was about to carve a boy's name into the palm of my hand, the knife I had resting on my dresser vanished. Honestly, to this day, that damn thing still hasn't turned up, and thank God I grew out of that period. That guy was a dick anyway. A lot of strange things happen to this day, and I always disregard that feeling of being watched as my being of guardian, though I'm positive he's not an angel. Why he protects me, I don't know, but I feel as though I'll find out when my death draws near.
What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Miss Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, stay pretty.